linked to violent video games. Video games are more and more relevant as decades go by, with early adolescents playing the average of 7.5 hours a week, and middle to late adolescents with 3.5 of use. Within the last 2 decades, over 20 studies, both correlational and experimental, have assessed the aggression in adolescents. From these studies, they found that aggression is easily manipulated during this age. This was proven by both Anderson and Dill in 2000, as well as Fling et al. In 1992, showing laboratory aggression from college students and teachers reporting violence between ages 11 to 17. And here's Victoria on the scene asking locals on their opinions.
Name?
I'm Andy.
Hello, Andy. What do you do for a living?
I'm a children's pastor.
Oh, neat. So you would say that you definitely have a lot of experience with children.
I do. I have a good 8-9 years of teaching in public school and private schools, as well as another about 10 years working in different ministry positions. The last 7 years focused on children's ministry.
Wow, okay. And so during this time, do you play a lot of video games?
I did for a long time in my college days, and my first up to about 30, 35 I did.
Wow. Now what type of games would you play?
I love to play all sorts of games, sports games, war games, sort of mystery games, a lot of, now I play mostly on app games. I don't have a whole lot of time to sit down and play a video game, so I play a lot of games on my phone.
Yeah. Okay, so would you say that children who play those war games, the more violenter games, are more prone to be more aggressive toward other children?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I do. I think in some ways, yes, that violent games do promote a sense of violence, especially when it becomes very uncontrolled, or parents just allow whatever for the children to do.
Okay, so would you say that whenever you were playing a whole bunch of games in your college days, were you a bit more violenter during that time?
No, I'm more of a more peaceful person, but I will tell you that I do remember when I first got married, I would stay up late and play video games and do some play a lot of games, especially a lot of like Call of Duty games and Rainbow Six games and violent video games like that. I do remember, not being violent to other people, but I had a hard time sleeping because a lot of that stuff would resonate in my dreams and my sleep, and it caused a lot of unrest in my sleep. So in a way, it did affect me.
Okay, so you're saying that children nowadays probably have a harder time sleeping because of the violent video games?
I believe, yes, things that children are exposed to that are more violent in nature do promote more violence, or can promote more violence in this generation.
Okay, well, thank you for your time, Andy.
All right, no problem.
Hello, what is your name?
Hi, I'm Alicia.
Okay, how old are you, Alicia?
I'm a sophomore in college.
How are you liking it so far?
It's pretty cool.
Nice. Do you have a lot of experience with children?
I had a lot of experience, especially in high school.
Okay, so what'd you do?
I helped out my children's pastor every week in the children's ministry.
Nice. All right, so would you say that you have a lot of experience in video games?
I have a decent amount, I
Okay.
guess.
What type of video games would you play?
Mostly like the war games, like Star Wars Battlefront.
That's fun. I also enjoy those games. Would you say that children who play those more violenter video games are more prone to be more aggressive towards other children?
I wouldn't say it's the video game's fault. I believe that parents are responsible for how their children should act. If the parents raise a kid right, then the kid will turn out fine whether they play violent video games or not.
Okay, so you're saying that if children act out more aggressively, it's not the video game's fault, it's the parents' fault.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you for your time.
Is aggression across adolescence linked to violent video games? Video games are more and more relevant as decades go by, with early adolescents playing the average of 7.5 hours a week, and middle to late adolescents with 3.5 of use. Within the last 2 decades, over 20 studies, both correlational and experimental, have assessed the aggression in adolescents.
Okay, so I'm here today with Karen Jones. I'm going to talk to her about the effects of violence in video games. Question I have for you, Karen, is do you feel there's different effects of aggressive behavior in actively playing versus passively watching the same violent video games in children?
Yes. I am the single mother of an 11-year-old boy. I tried to keep video games out of my household for a long time. Unfortunately, it's virtually impossible to do that in this day and age. And Fortnite has taken over our household. And my son had previously seen other kids play Fortnite or other games. I think Madden was the other one that was highly popular at the time. And since playing Fortnite, which is violent, his behavior has completely changed. I would say due to playing it and also trying to control how much he plays a big part in it. His behavior has gotten quite aggressive. When I try to take it away or and just constantly, the more they kill, the higher levels they get to. It's like they get rewarded for violent behavior, so that it's hard for like kids to differentiate that in real life. So do I think that like it causes more aggression? Absolutely, unfortunately. And they it's marketed to these kids too, to spend money and it's just absolutely taken over our lives. And more, unfortunately, my kid is standing here right now, so I feel guilty even saying all these things right now, because I'm going to pay the consequences for this later, because he's going to be aggressive towards me. But
That's the truth, and you're sticking to it.
That is my truth. Unfortunately, it has changed the dynamics in our household, and it's hard to parent, because it's like, they're not making like cookies and rainbows to play for our kids.
Right.
It's violent games, and it's not, things that are like learning and educational. It's like, let's kill, and it's nothing it's nothing great and good for our kids to learn. And yeah, it does alter their behavior, and it's nothing good. So
All right, over and out. All right, so I'm here today with Misty, and we're going to talk about aggression in video games. So Misty, do you feel there's different effects of aggressive behavior in actively playing versus passively watching the same violent video games in children?
Absolutely. I know for my children, I don't really let them play those types of games. One, because it encourages children to use violence in a way to succeed in life or to achieve their goals. I feel like it also kind of has a lot to do with who they associate with. Obviously, these video games make violence seem like the cool thing to do. So as children, being young and like sponges, they adapt to their surroundings, and when society allows something like that to be a part of their everyday lives, the children become violent, and I don't want my children thinking that violence is a way to relate to people. I feel like, especially in boys, they kind of take on like using violence as to who they are, or who's stronger, more powerful physically, instead of using, you know, their mentality or their education or, you know, morals and respect for others. I feel like these video games are unhealthy for children, especially. They're very influenced, again, by their surroundings, and I don't encourage my children to play those types of video games. Violence is not a part of my lifestyle, nor is it something I want them to come to believe is normal or okay.
All right, so you've heard it here first from Misty in Vero Beach. Thanks, Misty.
You're welcome.